You get nothing in the divorce, my mother-in-law, Linda said with a smirk, waving some papers in my face. My son never registered your marriage. You're not even his real wife. I kept folding laundry, staying calm. Thanks for letting me know, Linda, I said, smoothing out David's dress shirt. She slammed the papers onto my folded clothes. Did you hear me? You're nothing. Just a woman who played house with my son. When he marries Olivia, she'll be his real wife. I looked at her and simply asked, is there anything else? My name is Alexandra. I had just learned that my 8-year marriage was a lie. But while Linda gloated, I thought about the safety deposit box at the bank, the one holding the real marriage papers I had secretly filed years ago. Linda frowned when I didn't react. You're not even upset. David is leaving you for a real woman, and you're acting like I just told you the weather. I picked up my laundry basket. I have dinner to make. Will you be staying? Her face turned red. You're delusional. When David hands you divorce papers tomorrow, don't say I didn't warn you. Olivia's already picking out new curtains. She stormed out. The moment her car drove away, I let out a deep breath and dialed a familiar number. Alexandra, said Margaret, my late mother's best friend and our family lawyer. I was wondering when you'd call. It's happening, I said. Linda just told me my marriage isn't legally registered. David's serving me divorce papers tomorrow. And the proof? Still in the safety deposit box. Smart girl, Margaret said. We have years of evidence, joint accounts, property, your contributions to the business. Linda made a mistake showing her hand so soon. I stared out the kitchen window at the garden I had planted. David and I were happy once. Then his family interfered. Then Olivia, his secretary, started staying late. Then came the lies. A car pulled up. David was home early for the first time in months. How fitting. I wiped my eyes and started cooking like nothing had changed. Alex, his voice was unsure. We need to talk. I turned to face him. About the divorce papers, or the fact that you never legally registered our marriage. His face went pale. How did you? Linda told me, I said, stirring the food. I can explain. Let me guess, I interrupted. Your mother convinced you it was for the best. Just a way to protect family assets. Did I miss anything? He opened his mouth, then closed it. Alex, please. You have to understand. Oh, I understand, I said. I understand that you and your family lied to me for 8 years, that you're leaving me for your secretary, and that you all think I'll walk away with nothing. A flicker of relief crossed his face. He expected tears. Begging. Instead, I set the table like it was any other night. I'll help you, he offered. A small settlement, maybe help with rent. I placed 2 plates down. That's very thoughtful of you. Will you be staying for dinner? He stared at me. Did you hear me? I'm leaving you. This house, everything, it's not yours. I smiled, thinking of the safety deposit box. Eat while it's hot. Tomorrow will be interesting. You're acting weird, he muttered, backing away. No, I said, sitting down. I've just changed. He left without eating. I finished dinner, then went upstairs to pack an overnight bag. Before bed, I made one last call. Hello, Officer Martinez. It's Alexandra Harrison. Remember that file I asked you to keep safe? It's time to use it. I was already at Margaret's office when David and his family arrived. Their confident smiles faded into confusion when they saw me. Linda clutched her expensive handbag. Thomas stood stiffly, and Olivia lingered at the back, clearly trying to outshine me. What is she doing here? Linda snapped at Margaret. This meeting is just to confirm their marriage was never legal. Margaret smiled, a sharp, knowing smile. Please have a seat. Alexandra has some documents to share. David scoffed. There are no documents. That's the whole point. I calmly opened my bag and placed a stack of papers on Margaret's desk. Actually, there are quite a few. Margaret held up the first one, the legal marriage registration I had secretly filed 8 years ago. Linda's face turned pale. That's impossible, she whispered. I made sure. You made sure to destroy the copy you took from the registry office. I finished. But you didn't know I filed it myself. My mother's best friend being a lawyer taught me to protect myself. David grabbed the paper, his hands shaking. This can't be real. Oh, it's very real, Margaret said, spreading out more documents. Bank records showing Alexandra's contributions, property investments in both names, and even company emails praising her work in the business. Thomas shifted uncomfortably. Those were internal messages, which became legal evidence the moment you tried to deceive her. Margaret cut in. But we're not done yet. Alexandra. I pulled out the final file, the one Officer Martinez had been keeping safe. These are records of every conversation where you and Linda planned to keep the marriage unregistered. Phone transcripts, emails, texts. Your mother was very thorough in documenting how you would protect the family assets. Linda's face turned gray. You recorded us? That's illegal. Not in this state, Margaret replied smoothly, especially when fraud is involved. David shot up from his seat. This is ridiculous. Even if the marriage is legal, I'm still divorcing her. She'll get a basic settlement and nothing more. About that, I said, handing him one last paper. His face drained of color as he read it. Margaret explained, this contract, which David signed 3 years ago, makes Alexandra a 50% owner of the family business, in exchange for her help securing the Anderson merger. You didn't even read it before signing, did you? I asked. David swallowed hard. 50%, he muttered. Thomas snatched the paper. You fool, he hissed. Olivia, finally speaking up, looked at David in shock. You said this would be simple. I let out a small laugh. Nothing about this has been simple. For 8 years, I watched and documented everything. I learned from the best. My mother and Margaret taught me to always be prepared. Linda's tone changed. We can make a deal. Name your price. I stood gathering my things. You already tried to name my price, a small settlement and help with rent. But I don't think you can afford me now. David's voice was hollow. What do you want? Everything I'm legally entitled to. Half of the house, the business, the assets. And I want you to explain to the board why I now own part of the company you tried to cut me out of. Thomas groaned. The board will never accept this gamble. Margaret shrugged. Then you better find a way to handle it quietly. Alexandra has been more than reasonable. Reasonable, Linda shrieked. She's destroying our family. I looked her in the eye. No, Linda. You destroyed your family the moment you built my marriage on a lie. I just refused to be your victim. As I walked out, I heard David call my name. I didn't turn back. Let him deal with the mess he made. My phone buzzed with a text from Officer Martinez. Everything go as planned. Better. I replied. Turns out being underestimated has its advantages. 3 months after the meeting in Margaret's office, I sat in my new corner office overlooking the city. The Harrison family business had undergone significant changes, most notably my promotion to co-CEO. The board, initially shocked by the revelations, had quickly recognized that my connections and business acumen were assets they couldn't afford to lose. David had moved out of our house, taking Olivia with him. Last I heard, they were living in a modest apartment across town. Quite a step down from the lifestyle he promised her. Linda had suddenly developed a passion for extended cruises, conveniently absent from most family business matters. A knock at my door interrupted my thoughts. It was Thomas, looking older than his years. Alexandra, he said, clutching a folder. The quarterly reports. We're up 20% since you took over the international division. I accepted the folder with a nod. Thank you, Thomas. Was there something else? He hesitated, then sank into one of my visitor chairs. I owe you an apology. We all do, but I should have known better. The signs were there, your intelligence, your dedication to the company. Instead, I let Linda convince me that you were a threat to our family's legacy. The irony, I replied, is that I would have helped build that legacy willingly. All I wanted was to be treated with respect. I know that now, he said quietly. David was a fool to let you go, to let his mother's prejudices bind him to what was right in front of him. I thought about the years I'd spent trying to prove myself worthy of the Harrison name, never realizing that I was already worth more than their schemes and manipulation. How is he? I asked, more out of courtesy than concern. Struggling, Thomas admitted. Olivia left last week. Apparently, the reality of dating a man who lives off his reduced trust fund wasn't as appealing as the fantasy of being a CEO's wife. I couldn't help but smile at the irony. And Linda, still finding herself on various cruise ships, though I suspect she's mostly hiding from the society gossip, your success hasn't gone unnoticed. I picked up a magazine from my desk. My face was on the cover, under the headline Harrison Industries' New Leadership. A story of resilience and innovation. Success is the best revenge, I said, quoting my mother's favorite phrase. Thomas stood to leave, then paused. Your mother would be proud of you, Alexandra. She raised a daughter who couldn't be broken. After you left, I walked to the window, watching the city buzz below. My phone lit up with a message from Margaret. Dinner tonight? We should celebrate your latest acquisition. I smiled, thinking of the small technology firm I'd just purchased, one that David had been trying to acquire for years. Definitely, I replied. I have some news to share. The news in question sat in an envelope on my desk, an offer to buy out the Harrison family's remaining shares in the company. Thomas would stay on as an advisor, but the rest, including David's trust fund shares, would be transferred to my ownership. I learned something valuable through all of this. Sometimes people's worst intentions can lead to your best opportunities. David and his family had tried to ensure I would end up with nothing, but their deception had pushed me to document everything, to protect myself in ways that ultimately gave me more than I'd ever imagined. Later that evening, over dinner with Margaret, I finally allowed myself to reflect on the journey. Do you think I was too harsh? I asked, taking everything they tried to deny me. Margaret set down her wine glass. You took what you earned, Alexandra. Every share, every position, every bit of respect. You earned it all. They're the ones who tried to take everything from you. She was right, of course. I thought about the young woman I'd been 8 years ago, so eager to please, so willing to prove herself worthy of the Harrison name. That woman was gone, replaced by someone stronger. Someone who understood that worth isn't given by others, it's claimed by yourself. My phone buzzed with another message, this time from Linda. We need to talk. About the buyout offer. I turned off my phone without replying. She'd learned soon enough that the tables had turned permanently. The woman they tried to erase had become the one person they couldn't ignore. To new beginnings, Margaret raised her glass. To karma, I countered, clinking my glass against hers. Looking out at the city lights, I felt at peace. Sometimes life's greatest victories come not from fighting back, but from being prepared when others show their true colors. David, Linda, and their schemes had taught me that lesson well. I'd lost a husband but gained an empire. In the end, I couldn't have planned it better myself.